welcome to this week's edition of City Sights. I'm Tabitha.
And I'm Hannah, and this week we're in the city of Liverpool to see what top 5 things this amazing place has to offer.
So starting our countdown at number 5 is our top exhibition, and we've both agreed the Space Invaders exhibition at FACT wins hands down.
This is a really hard decision as there's so much going on, but we both have thought that this place was original, entertaining and something for all the family.
And this exhibition is even free and runs from the 18th of December to the 21st of February, so there really are no excuses not to go.
So head on down there because it's just brilliant.
Moving on to number 4 on our countdown, and it's our favourite place to eat in the city.
Now, Liverpool was recently the capital of culture, so we thought it was only right to choose somewhere that had a culture of its own.
Yeah, so the place we've decided on is called Soul Cafe, and it's situated on one of Liverpool's most famous streets, Bold Street.
It's famous for 2 things, it's Scouse and it's Memphis Soul Stew, which rarely has a kick to it.
Yeah, the food there really was fantastic, and the atmosphere was so laid back and easygoing.
Yeah, the surroundings were great, it was full of albums and original LPs, it really took me back.
It definitely was different. And speaking of albums, that brings us nicely on to number 3 in our countdown, which is our top band.
Now, if Liverpool's famous for one thing, it's its music, with acts like the Beatles, the Zootons, the Wombats and the legend that is Mel C. But at the moment, the city is thriving with locally based talent.
Yeah, and we have spent a long time checking out Liverpool's music scene.
We visited tons of venues and listened to loads of albums, and I have to say, it was the most fun we've had doing this show so far.
We've definitely had some pretty interesting nights out in Liverpool and got to listen to some fantastic acts over the last couple of days.
But we did decide on one band, a band called TJ and Murphy, who are really mellow folk-style music and they write amazing lyrics.
Their album, Weary Nights, is even available now, and they'll be playing a track for us at the end of the show.
So now it's that point in the show where we head out into the city, so let's see where Liverpool takes us.
Okay, so as you know, we're actually visiting the city of Liverpool this week, and I'm down here at the Liverpool Albert Dock. Now, the docks themselves are actually stooped in an array of history. If you come down, you'll find museums based on slavery, the maritime history of the city, and it's actually going to be the location for the World Museum, which is moving from the centre of the city down to the docks. The reason I'm actually down here this week is I've come to interview a guy called Mike Searle. Now, every year, swimmers jump into the River Mersey and swim from one side over to the Wirral. And Mike actually managed to do this in 17 minutes, so I want to find out a little bit more about why he did it and a little bit more about the event itself.
I've been doing indoor swimming for quite a few years. It started out as a bit of a social event, just coming down, swimming in the Albert Dock on a weekend and stuff. It's actually a yearly run event in memory of Kenny O'Toole. It's all for charity, so when I was asked to do it, I was more than willing to give it a go. Like I said, I've already been training 5-6 times a week for several years. Open water wise, I've been coming down to the Albert Dock every weekend for around 4 or 5 months. So not too long at all, really. I'd like to think it'll last for a while. It's been there 5-6 years already. Each year the event's gaining popularity and more people are entering. So you never know, hopefully it'll be around for a while. I'll have to come back and see if it's still there in a few years. Do get a little trophy in memory of Kenny O'Toole for winning it. Myself and a couple of other people actually swam the channel later that year as well.
Yeah, and what was that like?
It was long.
Yeah.
So it was 13 hours and 16 minutes something through the channel, so that was quite a swim.
A little bit bigger than the Mersey.
Just a little bit, yeah. I am looking to get back into it, and I'm sure there's plenty more bodies of water that haven't been swam yet, so we can always plan for the future and see what we can do.
Right, well, if Mike can swim the river with very little cold water training, I reckon I can do that. So I'm going to go suit up. Okay, let's go.
Very cold, but it was fantastic. So, right back to the studio. I'm going back in.
Mike, that's not the river, that, mate.
Now, we have had a brilliant time in Liverpool this week and managed to find some truly great things to see and do. But one place that really stood out was a fantastic jewellery maker called Claudia Pink. So it seems only fair that she goes right to number 1 at the top of our list this week.
That's right, and joining us today is the jewellery maker herself. Please welcome Claudia Pink.
Claudia, thanks so much for joining us today.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So we've done a bit of research about you,
Yeah.
and we found, if this is correct, that you used to work in Ibiza in a nightclub, and now you're creating your own jewellery and you've got your own store. I mean, how did this happen? It's two completely different things.
Yeah, well, I started at quite a young age, really. I was probably about 16 or 17 and it was a club in Liverpool, and they always sort of gave me very creative jobs like costume design, decor, sort of arranging very creative sort of situations. So I think from that I've always done something creative, and I've always made things and been very sort of into that kind of thing.
So that gave you the drive to go on and make.
Yeah, well then I went travelling and sort of picked up a lot of interesting things along the way, and sort of taught myself how to make jewellery, because I like sort of decorating myself and other things.
So when did you create your first piece?
Well, I was travelling around India and Thailand, and I was collecting sort of like little trinkets, and this is actually one of my first pieces that I ever made. It's quite simple, but it means a lot to me.
Beautiful, yeah.
It's like I've got pieces from Egypt and India and Thailand. So yeah, that was one of my first pieces, and then.
So is this quite a popular style, sorry? Do you get lots of people coming in and asking for trinkets like the first one you ever made?
Well, when I first started, that was like quite a popular thing to have. But it's, as fashions have changed, it's a bit more sort of statement-y, a bit more chunky and glam.
Which you've got some now to make.
Yeah. I've got a piece here. I mean, I just sort of, I collect things from all different eras. This is actually modern, this chain. This little piece here, this is from a vintage necklace from the 50s. So I break them up and take them apart and rework them. So yeah, so I just kind of...
So is this quite a popular design you're doing? Do you end up making this quite a lot, or is it a one-off? Or?
Yeah, well this is a one-off, but I sort of, I do commissions and similar things to this really. But I do headpieces and rings and all kinds of stuff.
Do you do any clothing?
No. I actually trained, well, not trained, I was at uni, I was doing fashion, but I'm not really into it anymore. I can't really sew very well. So.
It's more the jewels.
Yeah, I much prefer this.